Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I want to welcome you back to another edition of your Adrenal Fix. And today I want to talk to you about adrenal fatigue recovery. Specifically, how do you get better from adrenal fatigue? And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you about a little bit of the pathway and how we produce cortisol, which is the main adrenal hormone that is used to fight off infections, to reduce inflammation, to stabilize your blood sugar. The adrenals, as you know, are thought of as the stress organs or the stress glands that have to deal with allowing your body to be able to handle that stress. And so that means increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, fight or flight mechanisms, fleeing from that saber-toothed tiger. But what happens in our modern day society is we have a lot of reoccurring stressors on a day-to-day basis, whether that's environmental stress, emotional stress, physical stress. Our body really hasn't been engineered to handle these stressors on a day-to-day basis. And now when you put in these other chemical pollutants and hormonal disruptors and heavy metal toxicities and virals and pathogens, and just all of these pollutants that are in the environment, it causes for a wear and tear on our stress mechanism. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about what you can do naturally and what you can look at in terms of what are you doing on a day-to-day basis that you could be doing differently that is impacting your ability to handle these stress responses. So it all starts with cholesterol. And so here at the top of at the equation is cholesterol, and cholesterol is necessary for hormone production. However, we've been educated and brainwashed to feel that cholesterol, if too high, will cause cardiovascular problems. And so ultimately, cholesterol does deposit on the arteries and does cause cardiovascular problems, but in and of itself, it doesn't do that unless you are inflamed, unless you have high blood sugar, unless your A1C is high, unless you have a lot of other toxicities in the body. So really, cholesterol is necessary, and unfortunately, when we have a mandated prescriptive society to lower cholesterol as much as possible, then you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater and you're not getting the healthy fats or the cholesterol that's necessary as the building blocks or the raw materials for making cortisol. So what can you do? Should you get off your thyroid or your cholesterol medication? Depends. You should start changing your diet so that you're not eating so much carbs. You should start eating healthier fats. You should start limiting the amounts of total calories that you eat on a daily basis. You should reduce your modified cornstarch or your fructose intake and really moderate your proteins. And I've done a lot of posts on ketogenic diets and how to control blood sugar and how to try to utilize healthy cholesterol. So that starts with that. The next thing we see is progesterone. And so progesterone is the downstream product of cholesterol. And we see these things in blue, and those are the genetic SNPs. So what does that mean? That means those are the enzymes that help convert progesterone into cortisol. And these are liver enzymes. So we do a genetic 23andMe report, and we interpret that, and we look to see, is that gene altered in its efficiency to make the enzymes that make cortisol. So altered inefficiencies means it's either heterozygous or homozygous, and you've inherited a SNP or a mutation from mom or dad or from both. And so what happens is you may see that your cholesterol levels are lower, and you're interpreting that as a prolonged stress response, or you're interpreting that as I need to get on hormones, but you're not really fixing the problem. You're just filling up a cup that has holes in it, and ultimately you keep doing that, and that's going to cause a whole slew of other problems. That's going to impact the liver. It's going to cause resistance because that hormone is going to be high. It's going to cause difficulty getting into the cell. It's going to cause receptor down regulation. It's going to cause a whole slew of problems. So really, we want to know how those liver enzymes are doing, and we always want to make sure we're doing some kind of liver approach, whether it's coffee enemas I've talked about before. You can do even packs over the liver where you're doing some castor oil packs. That's an old grandma's recipe to help that. You can do infrared saunas. You can do a lot of liver support, milk thistle, and detoxing, and reduce animal intake. Then you have cortisol, and cortisol has a couple of enzymes that make alpha products or beta products. And typically the alpha products are a more inflammatory pathway. So we want to make sure that we're assessing how is cortisol breaking down. Is it going through a more inflammatory pathway? Because if it is, then I don't necessarily want to give you more raw materials to create more inflammation. We also want to know some of the enzymes that inactivate cortisol, because if those are downregulated, then you're not going to have the ability to turn off your inflammatory mechanism. So genetic testing, Dutch testing, cofactors, micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and even epigenetic components. And what does that mean? Those are things that can impact these enzymes. So this enzyme may be working perfectly fine. You haven't inherited an alteration in that enzyme. However, you may have a lead or a mercury toxicity or too much in your body, and that can slow these enzymes down. Or you can have xenobiotics, medications that slow these enzymes down. So it really entails not just being put on cortisol or hydrocortisone or prednisone, or being put on adaptogens or DHEA or hormones. It means looking at your body, seeing what your nutrient demand is, seeing how well you're absorbing these foods, looking at a cortisol Dutch test, looking at how well you're breaking down these hormones, and putting together a program based on that. So that's how you fix adrenal fatigue. And so it's really tough to navigate through these uncharted waters on your own, and that's why you need to watch videos like this to try to get more information on this. So I hope you enjoyed this segment of your adrenal fix. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen, and if you liked what you heard, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can get updates on all this great information. Make sure you like or share this channel as well. Go over to my blog at adrenalfatiguesociety.com, or go check me out on Facebook at the same name, Adrenal Fatigue Society. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen, and I look forward to helping you recover with your adrenal fatigue nightmare. Thank you so much.